Imagine living in a farmhouse, surrounded by miles of forest. No streetlights, no neighbors, just wind slipping through the trees and the slow creaking of old wood settling in the dark. Now imagine lying awake in bed, long past midnight, when something begins scratching inside your walls. At first, it sounds like animals. Then it changes. The scratching becomes knocking, slow, deliberate, like something is trying to get your attention from inside the house. You search every room, every corner, every shadow. Nothing. Because whatever is making the noise is already inside. Most ghost stories are just that. Stories. But the legend you're about to hear wasn't whispered once. It was repeated in newspapers, in witness accounts, across generations of people who swore something followed them home. Tonight on Mr. Wick and Whispers, we're stepping into one of the most chilling legends in American folklore. A haunting that didn't just appear, it spoke, it attacked, and some believe it killed. The legend of the Bell Witch. And stay with us, because one of the witnesses to this haunting may have been a future president of the United States. Now, pull the fire a little closer, because this story begins on a quiet farm in 1817 Tennessee. In the early 1800s, the Bell family lived on a stretch of land near Adams, Tennessee. Open fields, thick forest pressing in from all sides. During the day, it felt peaceful. Birds in the trees, wind moving through tall grass, the steady rhythm of farm life. But after sunset, everything changed. The darkness there wasn't normal. It didn't just fall. It settled, heavy, endless, as if the forest itself was watching. And in 1817, something appeared. One evening, John Bell walked through his cornfield when he noticed movement ahead. At first, he thought it was a stray animal. But as he got closer, something felt wrong. Its head, too large, its body unnatural, its eyes reflecting something that wasn't there, and the way it stood, perfectly still watching him, felt deliberate. John raised his rifle and fired. The creature vanished. No sound, no movement, no trace, as if it had never existed. When he told his family, most laughed it off. Just an animal, just imagination. But within days, the house began to change. At night, scratching echoed along the walls, sometimes slow, like claws dragging across wood. Other times, something heavy moved through the house, room to room, always just out of reach. If they followed the sound, it moved. If they stepped outside, it started again inside. No one slept. Not really. They listened, they waited, and then it got worse. The children began waking in the night, screaming, blankets ripped away, pillows thrown across the room. Some swore they felt hands grabbing them in the dark, hands that weren't there. But the worst of it happened to Betsy Bell. She would wake up crying, something unseen pinching her skin, pulling her hair, dragging her from sleep into terror. One night she ran into the hallway, her arms covered in deep red scratches. The family searched the house again and again and again. Nothing, no intruder, no explanation. And slowly, a realization crept in, cold, unavoidable. Whatever was inside that house was watching them, and worse, it understood them. Because then, the knocking stopped, and something else began. At first, it sounded like whispering, soft, faint, hidden in the walls. The Bells couldn't make out the words, but they could hear the rhythm. Something was speaking just out of sight. Night after night, the whispers grew louder, clearer, closer, until one evening the voice spoke, clear enough that everyone heard it. A woman's voice, cold, calm, almost amused. It came from everywhere. The ceiling, the walls, right behind their shoulders. No one moved. No one breathed. And then the voice laughed. Over the following weeks, the presence began to speak more, answering questions, sometimes politely, sometimes cruelly. It sang hymns in the night, its voice drifting through the house while no one slept. Word spread, and people came, curious, skeptical, afraid. Many claimed they heard it. Some said it repeated conversations from miles away. Others swore it knew secrets no stranger should ever know. And then it gave itself a name. My name is Kate. The spirit claimed to be Kate Batts, a real woman, someone who once argued with John Bell over land. Some said she had been cheated. Others said the story was twisted over time. But the voice didn't care. It said the haunting was revenge. And from that moment on, its attention turned to one person, John Bell. It mocked him, whispered threats, called him Old Jack, laughed when he spoke. And slowly, John Bell began to change. By the winter of 1820, he was dying. The strong farmer could barely walk. His face twitched. His throat tightened. Sometimes he couldn't move at all. And through it all, the voice never stopped. Old Jack Bell is dying. Old Jack won't last the night. Then one morning they found him, unconscious, beside his bed. A small glass vial, filled with dark liquid. No one had seen it before. No one knew where it came from. They asked the voice what it was, and it answered immediately. I gave Old Jack a dose of that last night. Silence filled the room. Someone tested the liquid, a single drop, given to a cat. The animal died instantly. Not long after, John Bell was gone, and that night, the voice sang, loud, joyful, celebrating. Whether this part is true, but it has been debated for generations. Some say illness, others say something far darker. But the story didn't end there, because it reached someone powerful, someone curious enough to see it for himself. The legend spread across Tennessee, a haunted farm, a voice from nowhere, a spirit that claimed to kill. Eventually, the story reached Andrew Jackson. Curious, he traveled to the Bell farm with his men, but before they arrived, something happened. The wagon stopped. Completely. The horses strained. The wheels wouldn't move. No matter what they tried, it wouldn't budge. Then, from the woods, a voice echoed, "All right, General, you may proceed. I'll see you tonight." The men froze. Moments later, the wagon rolled forward, as if nothing had happened. That night, they stayed in the house. The voice spoke to them, just like it had to everyone else. One man bragged. He carried a silver bullet, said he could kill a witch. The spirit responded instantly, mocking him. Then, he was thrown across the room by something no one could see. Jackson reportedly turned and said, "I'd rather fight the British again than deal with the Bell Witch." Whether he truly visited, no one can prove. Before we step into what may be the most unsettling part of this legend, if stories like this pull you in, the kind that blur the line between history and something far harder to explain, make sure to like and subscribe to Mr. Wick and Whispers. And let us know in the comments which part of this story has shocked you the most so far. But the legend survived for over 200 years, and some believe it never left. Even today, people visit Adams, Tennessee, searching, listening, waiting. Some hear knocking deep in the woods, Others say whispers follow them after sunset. Maybe it's imagination, maybe it's history, or maybe some stories don't end, they wait. And before you leave, there's one thing even more unsettling than this story: not watching the next one. Because somewhere tonight, another story is being whispered. And someday, it might become the next legend.